Joe,
Hey, what's up, buddy?
what's up, man? How are you?
Good.
All right, man. Joe Black from Wisdom in Chains. If you don't
Yeah,
know who
what's up?
Wisdom in Chains are, they're Seminole, Pennsylvania hardcore band. If you're from Pennsylvania and you don't like Wisdom in Chains, you don't like hardcore. This is basically how it goes now. Watching you guys for years, always a fan of your band. Hilarious people, and I love the message you put into your music all the time. And
Thank you.
yeah, you're a great front man, and it's a pleasure to talk to you. We've met once or twice, but we've never really had a long convo, so this is cool because this will be like one of our first full chats. But you know,
Yeah.
I've been a fan of the band, so pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for being on.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. This is a very cool thing. It's cool to see so many people involved. It's cool to see the excitement, and it's cool that these conversations are happening. It's
No, thank you, man.
it's long overdue, and it's just knowing that people are involved, good people in hardcore music are involved, that it makes me feel hopeful.
I know all day I'm like, we were calling it negative optimism, where it's like shit is terrible, but it like I feel all right because this community is fucking moving now,
I don't see it as negative at all, man. I see it as a pure positive. It's just it's so exciting to be living in a time where we get to watch a civil rights movement happen.
yeah,
After seeing storybooks and history books and hearing these stories, like I grew up hearing these stories from my parents, and my grandmother used to tell me stories about actually marching and being in the civil rights movement in the 50s and 60s, and being able to witness it happen and actually comparing pictures side by side then and now. It's crazy because it's the same fucking people had the same fire and passion, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've been echoing it all day, but I haven't seen people around me as fired up like this at any time in my life, and it was honestly the motivating factor for me being like, this is a good time to do this. People are gonna fucking get involved right now, you know.
Yeah.
So you're a Philly based, right? Are you living in Philly right now?
No, we're in Pennsylvania. We're north of Philadelphia.
You are
Probably,
north. Okay, yeah,
probably about an hour and a half north of
okay,
Philadelphia.
yeah. So I mean, I've got some buddies in Philly, so I was kind of like updated on what's going on in the city there, which was like pretty nuts, like with Center City and stuff. Man, like there was like a lot of damage, there was a lot of police violence, there was a lot of like racial tension, dudes out and stuff. I mean, have you been in Philly, or also like what's it like outside the city, like by where you guys are?
So I have been there once, and it's pretty crazy. It was pretty wild. Um, my my town of Stroudsburg, which is, like I said, it's quite a bit north of Philadelphia, but they had a few demonstrations so far and protests, and it was a lot more civil, I guess you could say.
Right.
But nothing but positive, man. Like I see nothing, even when situations tend to turn violent and kind of get out of control. It's unfortunate that happens, but in the long run, I think there's more positive than negative that comes from those situations. So, like being able to see it in a city and in a small town, just even the difference between a city and a small town, it's still mostly positive to me. It's people are seeing a perspective that they never even considered, and that is a positive.
Yeah, that is definitely true. And a lot of like I said before, perspectives changing, and changing the minds of people who are normally complacent into becoming active right now is like it's the only way forward at this point, and it's the only way that this is going to work, because it's a time and time again cycle of this stuff where it comes up and everybody cares for a second, it goes away, and nobody, then it's like, did you really care? Or was it just something that affected you instantaneously? Because if you really cared, you would have saw this shit through. You would have kept going. You would have kept going with these protests. You wouldn't have stopped talking about it, And like now, I think I hope fucking everyone's tired of this cycle and tired of seeing this shit disappear. I mean, goddamn.
It reminds me of something that Anthony and John were just touching on. Is people's reactions, how the way people react to things and the reason they react to things. And he was saying towards the end of the conversation about people just kind of like taking a pause almost, and don't be so quick to just react and in anger at someone, right? A lot of times people do these things and their motivation is what other people are thinking of them.
Sure.
Right. And we see it in hardcore all the time. There's all these like these flash in the pan trends that happen, like memes that just get shared through thousands of people overnight. And then you have all these people saying a thing, not considering that they just saw it on a meme. It might not even be real. They're sharing it and talking about it based on what they think the reaction of other people will be if they don't. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
there's people being in hardcore music right now. There's just people being called out for things that they should not be called out for. You know what I mean? Like I'll say this, not to put anybody on blast, but my friend Toby Morse from H2O had a little bit of an issue because people were sharing a meme about him completely taken out of context. Toby Morse is not the enemy here. Toby Morse is not the enemy. He's one of the kindest, nicest, most positive dudes. He's been preaching for racial equality and racial unity his whole entire hardcore career. He's not the enemy. You know what I mean? But taken out of context, a picture taken out of context, and people worried about not being first to put somebody on blast is a real problem. That caused a big thing that's completely wrong and taken out of context.
Yeah,
you know
I mean, social media gets very toxic, especially in our world and all over the place. There's really no way, around it. And
think about this. Think about this, right? When I was a kid and I discovered hardcore for myself, okay? The band that brought me in was Sick of It All, right? Because I saw in their lyrics, I said, this band is like advocating for me. It's for white guys.
Right.
They're advocating for me. They're sticking up for me. And this is in the early 90s that I discovered it. They're sticking up for me. Hardcore is always ahead of the curve in terms of unity, in terms of progressiveness, progressive thinking. Hardcore is always ahead of the curve. We always set the trends. This is the place where the kind of people that you like, this is where we gather. This is our spot, right? And for me, it's always been like that from the beginning. And then once I started digging and I learned that, a band, an all-black band, sort of blew the whole thing up and started this whole trend, it completely justified my choice to be involved in this music. It totally concreted it. You know what I'm saying? So now is the time to remember who your friends are and remember why we're involved in this thing in the first place. Because this is where we belong, because we think differently than other people in the world.
So I mean, this community is by its definition, from its foundations is this accepting open forum of unity and stuff. And I think it allows a collective thought and sort of this more free, more forward way of thinking to evolve over time. And you're right. Yeah. A lot of progressive stuff and ideas. I mean, the friends that I know that are involved in the hardcore scene for the right reasons, are all, I think have a better perspective on society because of the history of this culture and the community that it's been in. And I'm just happy to see that they're fucking that people are doing their part now, but I wish it was something that was brought to the surface earlier. I mean, it's nothing new. I mean, shit, you wrote Violent Americans how many years ago now?
Oh my God, I don't know. It was quite a few.
Yeah, and it's I heard that song and I didn't react, and it didn't get the reaction out of me like it does today. And of course, I fucking agree with every word that came out of your mouth. And I thought those protests and riots were at the time very warranted, and I understood that struggle. I all absorbed the same way it did today, but for whatever reason, me and a million other people didn't do much about it, and I'm just happy that we're at a point now where it's it's fucking enough, and to have you, who's been so vocal about these issues for so long, to say that you're feeling good and then say that you can see this change and stuff. I mean, it's inspiring to me to know that, we can do our part to just help you and to keep supporting this movement now,
It's so refreshing and cool that you are doing this, that you organize this event, this thing. It's so cool and refreshing and fills me with hope. You know what I mean? You didn't have to do this. Nobody who spoke with you in the last 2 days had to do this, right? Our fate is in our own hands. You know what I mean? We're steering the ship. Nobody's steering this for us. You got proactive and said, you know what? I'm not going to just talk about it. I'm going to do something. That's the whole hardcore mentality. That's it. You know what I mean? You want to see a show, you go rent a hall, you put it on, you rent a PA system. That's what we do, right? This is just like this. We've been doing this for years. We've been doing this for years, all of us. And it's time that as no matter how old you are, you always call yourself a hardcore kid, right? Hardcore kid mentality. We've been doing this for years. It's not the time to turn on each other and attack each other. It's time to recognize each other for what we are. That we have the fucking power to change the world. We have that power.
Yeah, it's a bunch of anti-racist kids with organizational skills, apparently, because if you can figure out how to pull off a show and run from the fire department and get a PA into this thing and navigate 4 bands and oversell a venue and do all this shit. And, you're right. There's parallels to this world where we accidentally got good at unifying a community.
Yeah.
And I think, it's cool, man. So what else, just to flip it really quick, because I am a fan of Wisdom in Chains. I would love to just catch up. Like, how are the rest of your guys? What else is going on with the band? Do you have any stuff planned coming up that you want to let anybody know about?
Just like everybody, like a lot of things got, thrown out the window with COVID quarantines and things like that. You know what I mean? But we're still active. We're still writing. We have a split 7-inch coming out with a band called Sharp Shock from LA, our buddy Dan Smith's band.
Oh, cool.
We have we're writing songs for a full length right now. We have quite a few completed musically, a couple completed lyrically. So we're working on a new album. Just grinding, you know what I mean? Trying to like keep each other positive, keep each other motivated. And
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on here, man. You're definitely a guy I've respected for years, and I always thought your voice was really important. And I always saw the unifying effect you had in Philadelphia at all these shows, and within the hardcore community. So it was important to hear from you. And thank you again for doing this, man. I appreciate you big time.
I appreciate you asking me, and I appreciate the work you're doing, and it's not unnoticed. You know what I mean? A lot of people are talking. How much money did you raise so far?
Couldn't tell you. With this morning, we were over $50,000. So I got to log in after this to look, but it's going good.
Absolutely incredible, dude.
Yeah,
incredible.
Hopefully it stays up. So donate, motherfuckers. $10. Let's go.
Thanks for doing it, and we appreciate you, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, check this out. Wisdom in Chains bundle. Thank you for donating this. 2 records.
Yeah. And you believe it or not, I've never even seen that one, the Nothing in Nature vinyl with the white splatters. I've never seen that before.
I didn't know that. By the way, hardest album title in the world. Nothing in Nature respects weakness. Fuck you. And Die Young and some stickers, dude. Joe, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for doing this, and let's connect soon. I look forward to hearing that new Wisdom in Chains.
Okay, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, dude. Have a good one. Mad Joe from Wisdom in Chains. Awesome dude. Pennsylvania legend. It was awesome to have him. All right. I'm going to take a 3-minute bathroom break. I'll be right back with my good buddy Andy from Dyer's Murder across the ocean in Australia right now. So sit tight. I'll be right back. Go donate. This is your moment.